Welcome to Castile Property Management. We do more than just watch your rental property. We protect it, cultivate it, and help your investment grow. Today we're going to talk about rental applications. Rental applications are very important. Doing proper screening on your application is one of the most important things you can do as a landlord. By doing proper screening, you're going to solve most of your problems before they even happen. So keep your life easy and dedicate some real time and attention to your rental applications so that you do this right. Some things that you need to be prepared with before you even advertise your place for rent. You need to be able to pull credit, criminal background check, and you need to have a written list of rules and procedures that you screen your applications against. For example, are you going to rent to somebody that has a past eviction? How long ago is okay and how long ago is not okay? What if they had a bankruptcy? Are you going to rent to them? What if they're having a hard time paying their bills? What kind of income requirements do you need? So these are all things you need to put down a list of what your criteria is so that you can lean on that, so that you can rely on it and not be wishy-washy as to who's approvable and who's not approvable. Now you need to definitely make sure you can pull credit and do a criminal background check. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be renting out a place. You need that information to know who you want to rent to. At Castile Property Management, not only can we do that, but we also have the ability with the attorney we use. They have a huge database that they have collected over decades of being in this industry and working with hundreds of landlords that we can compare our applicant against their database and see if they've had a run-in with our attorney before when renting with another property manager. And that comes up at times, and it's very helpful. We can see that, oh, they have an open collection. And we can do that before even getting to running credit and criminal background checks. So that's a really, really big help, a big plus that Castile Property Management is able to provide its clients. Now, some things that you need to require of every application before you'll even consider the application, things that they need to do or have done. One, they must have filled out their applications completely. If they're just not complete, send it back. Tell them, hey, finish this. I didn't ask these questions for my health. I asked these questions because I need to know the information. Two, all adults must have applied. If they have adult children living with them or a spouse, all of them need to apply. You need their date of birth, their social security number, their income, all your application information for every single adult. Let's see, number three, they must have toured the property. So, I can't think of very many situations where somebody wants to apply for a place they haven't even looked at. If they do, that tells me one of two things. Either they don't care where they live, or they don't really think they're going to be approved, and they just want to find out before they invest much energy and effort into the place. Either one of those situations I'm not very excited about. They need to have made a decision that they want the place before they apply and before I run their application. With their application, they need to provide a picture ID and a current pay stub. Without those, you send it back. Say, I need these things. You didn't follow the instructions. Please do that, and I'd be happy to then look at your application. Their preferred move-in date can't be too far away. I tell all my applicants they need to be ready to move in or at least start paying the rent within 1 week of when the property is available. any longer than that, it's just not fair to myself or the property owner. And maybe that means the tenant needs to double up on the rent at where they're currently living. Maybe that's the case, but that's something they need to work out, because I can get it filled, within a week usually of when it's available, and that's what I need to stick with. Let's see. Make sure they're not trying to move in too many people. If they want to move in 6-7 people in a 2-bedroom apartment, just no. The answer is no. Or if they want to move in, if there's a 5-bedroom house and they want to move in 5 friends, nope, zoning doesn't accommodate that. There's not parking for that. So just no. Who wants to live there, and the number of people needs to comply with city ordinances, rules, zoning, all that kind of stuff, and even just the practicality of how big the property is. They must not be, number 7, they must not be in the middle of a bankruptcy. If they are in the middle of a bankruptcy, you don't want to become one of their monthly creditors, somebody that they owe money to. There's too much potential for that to be a big problem for you. They need to get that sorted out, and once that's closed, once they've finished their bankruptcy, based on your rules that you've written down, maybe that's something you'll consider. But if they're in the middle of a bankruptcy, just absolutely no. Nope, you don't want to get in the middle of that until it's closed out at the very earliest. And maybe not even then. No collections or evictions from previous landlords. That's pretty important. I think you can understand why. I also get asked a lot what credit score I'm looking for, and I'm never really looking for a score. I am looking to see that they pay their bills. The score alone doesn't give me much information. I often tell people no credit is better than bad credit, at least in my world as a landlord. So I want to be able to see that, that their bills are getting paid, that they don't owe money to people, that they're not currently behind on their car payment. If that's the case, then they're currently having financial trouble, and that's not somebody I want to sign up as a tenant. So then, let's see, number 10, criminal history. A lot of times that rules them out, but I do look at the severity of the crime, how long ago it was, the frequency of it, all that plays into it and paints a picture for everything else. So anyway, those are 10 things that, that you just either need to know about them, that they've answered on their application, or that they've done, all before you really get into running their application. Now, how to pick a good tenant. Of course, after you have your rules and your procedures set up, and you get your first application, you might be really excited. You might want to just dig right into it, because having that place sitting vacancy is just hurting you financially. It's costing you a lot of money having a place sitting empty, and so you're just about ready to do anything to get it filled. But you have to wait. You can't let the pressure of a vacant place and the desire to get it filled quickly, you can't let that influence your decision on who you're going to apply to, or whose application you're going to approve. So what I mean by get your head straight, you need to realize who you're really looking for and what your job is. Now realize your job is not to provide housing to people. So think about that for a minute. You might think it is at first, and some applicants might think that's your job. If they need housing, they come to you. Well, that's really not your job. You're in the business of investing in real estate, right? If you were just in the business of providing housing to people, you would be behaving very differently. So your job, you're looking for a business partner in the form of a tenant. Okay, you're not looking to provide somebody with housing. You're looking for somebody that's going to be a good business partner for you, right? And you're going to call them tenant. So they need to be able to show through their application process that they're going to perform the aspects of the lease that they're supposed to, and are willing to enter a business contract with you, and you will then also perform the same your contractual obligations. So think of it that way. Okay, is this going to be a good business partner for me? Is this somebody I want to go into business with? 7 red flags to watch for when you're considering an application. Now, this is where you have to be a little bit of a cynic, right? I mean, you always want to believe that people are generally good, and I think people generally are, but you have to be a little bit of a cynic. You have to watch for those that are trying to trick you or trying to hide something from you, or those that just won't work out. So number one, if they ask if they can split up the deposit and pay it over time, nope, can't do that. Absolutely not. Don't ever say yes to that. Every time I say no, almost every time I say no, they say, that's okay, I'll figure it out anyway. Well, that's the behavior that you want. You want somebody that can just figure out their own problems and doesn't make it your problems, right? So plus, if they really absolutely need to split it up over time, then they can't afford to live there. That's just what it comes down to, right? If it's too hard for them to come up with a deposit and their rent on the first month, then what are they going to do when their car breaks down? What are they going to do when they have some extra medical bills that month? Or what are they going to do when it's Christmas and they want to buy extra presents for their kids? You know, you don't want them deciding between those things and paying rent. Which one are they going to do? So if they really need to do that, they just need to find a cheaper place to live. Bullies come along every once in a while. You need to watch out for them, and it can take a while to learn that. It can really be upsetting the first time, and maybe even several times after you get kind of attacked by a bully. Usually it's just verbally in business, but they want to single you out. They want to belittle you. They want to question your procedures. They want to question the way you're doing things. They want to make you feel unfair. And who knows why bullies act the way they do? There's a lot of different reasons. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not prepared with written policies and procedures that you can lean on, instead of just having them in your head and kind of the whims of pressure can change those, have them written down so that you can lean on them and so that you can look back at them and you can say, no, this makes sense. I'm not being unfair. I'm not being unreasonable. And I do know what I'm doing. I have these rules written down for a reason, and I believe in them. And the bully, like I said, he or she is going to make you feel like you're alone, like you're crazy, like you're making up insane rules and unrealistic expectations. Don't let them make you feel like that. Realize you have all the power in this situation. You can simply say no. That's not the way I do things. And it's amazing how much relief there is when you just say no. And, let them say their final rude comments and let them go away and don't give them any more time or energy. There's another kind of bully that comes along, number 3, that very different approach, but kind of the same purpose in what they're trying to do is manipulate you, but they do it in a very nice way. They say things like, oh, I love this house very much, and I really, really feel like I'm supposed to live here. I've even heard, I prayed about it, and I feel like this is where I'm supposed to live. There's some special reason for me to be here, and this home is just so perfect for my family. I really hope you consider me. And, they just lay it on thick. And it's kind of doing the same thing that a bully does. Maybe they're not even intentionally doing it. Maybe they are. It really doesn't matter. You have your rules, right? And your procedures and what they need to pass to qualify. And that's what you lean on. The rest, again, you have to be a bit of a cynic. The rest just doesn't matter. Whether they really feel like that or whether they're trying to manipulate you, it really just doesn't matter. You're looking for a good business partner. They either pass your rules or they don't. So the next one, number 4, might sound kind of strange, but my spidey senses kind of go off if somebody says, I'd like to come by your office and talk to you, and we can discuss the details. I always think, why? Why is that so important to you to come meet with me and discuss the details? Like, do you have a question? Ask me a question. I'm right here on the phone. And I don't have any problem really with meeting people in person. It's just so not expected in today's world, and frankly not necessary. You can get most of what you need from credit and criminal background check, and a good application that asks all the right questions, and then doing your follow through to verify that information. So meeting in person, really, I just find most of the time people have a situation, or they have something unique that they want to do, or something that they want to explain and convince you is okay. They want to lay on the charm so that you can overlook their credit, something like that. And I just tell people, that's really not my application process. You need to first look at the property, and then you can follow the instructions on the website, fill out your application, and we'll consider it in a first come, first served basis. And sometimes that works for them, sometimes it doesn't. But it's important, and it helps you to be consistent. And I'll get into the importance of consistency later. Just keep in mind that the consistency and inconsistency can cause if you're meeting with people in person and trying to be a little ambiguous as to who qualifies and who doesn't. Their application has to be complete, number 5. If it's incomplete, one, maybe they just don't care enough to fill out the application, or there's just something they don't want you to know about. Send it back. Say you need to finish your application, and then I'll be happy to look at it in a first come, first served basis. Someone that's in a big hurry, number 6. I rarely understand somebody's situation where I'm in a big hurry, I need a place to live right now. I mean, how does that happen? At Castile Property Management, we can accommodate that. We can move really fast. People fill out their application online, we screen it right away. We can send them an electronic lease to sign if they're approved. I mean, we can, snap, my fingers are dry so they're not snapping. But we can take care of that really fast if needs be. But again, it's the, there's a noisy train going by. I hope you can't hear it. But again, it's the spidey sense thing, right? If somebody's in a big hurry, you got to ask why. It's reasonable to ask more questions and say, why are you in such a hurry? Sometimes when I ask that, I find they're being evicted. And I say, well, that's not going to work out for me. And yeah, wish them good luck, and that's all you need to know. Find out why. Make sure it makes sense why they're in such a big rush, and then if it seems reasonable, then yeah, move forward and help them out as quick as you can. Number 7, the final tip: let people talk. Just let them talk. You'll be surprised the information you find out when you just let people talk. They'll start telling you their situation, why they're. I'm so surprised about this. They start telling me why they wouldn't be a good application, why they think that their application won't be approved, the problems they've run into before when they've tried to live someplace. And when you've heard enough, when you just know, no, I'm not really interested in renting, you can interrupt them, kind of stop them from stabbing themselves, and say, I wish you best luck, but that's not going to work for me either, and then you're done. So those are some 7 things. You can read the written blog that kind of go over some of these things too, so you can kind of refresh on those. Another question is, should I accept multiple applications? And this, I hear people talk this way, and it's really the wrong way of doing it. But they want to collect a bunch of applications. They want to sort through them. They want to pick the one that they like the best, that they think is going to be the best tenant for them. And then they want to, get them signed up and deny all the others. There's a real problem with that, and it's inconsistency. Okay, you need to protect yourself from being inconsistent. There's federal fair housing laws. There's state fair housing laws. There's protected classes, people and groups that you can't discriminate against. And even if you're not discriminating against somebody, you can have the appearance of it. And so you just need to have set policies and procedures that you follow, and either an application comes in and either it's approved and you sign them up, or it's not, and then you move on to the next one that came in the order that they came in. It's really hard to prove that you're consistent when you just collect a bunch of applications and you pick one. Plus, practically, it doesn't really make sense all the time because people don't wait around for you, right? They submit an application, they want an answer, and they deserve one. You should give them one. As far as consistency, consider this scenario, how easy it is to get off track and start being inconsistent and cause problems for yourself, okay? Maybe you have a friend that says, hey, can I rent from you? I just need a place for a few months while I'm in between housing. My house is being built or whatever. And they go to you know them from your church, and you know them, they're a good friend. You say, sure, yeah, you can come stay there for 3 months, and you don't even require an application from them. They just move in and they pay you rent, and that seems to work out great. Well, what if the next time you go to rent it out, the next applicant says, hey, well, I know those people that live there. How come you'll give them a 3-month lease, or how come they have a special situation and my application is being treated differently? You're telling me no to a short lease, or you're telling me no to even needing to apply, or that I do need to apply when they didn't have to. You're giving me different answers than what you gave them, and it seems like it's because they go to your church. Well, all of a sudden, just because you want to be nice to a friend, you've created a situation for yourself where you are actually discriminating against somebody else, or at least have the appearance of it, right? You're giving special favors to somebody that goes to your church. And really, it was just because they were a friend, and you didn't want to go through the hassles that you would with somebody that you don't even know. But that's what happened. And, the same can happen if you collect a bunch of applications. I like this one, I like this one, next time you're out, you like this one and this one. What if all of a sudden you're audited because somebody thinks you're being inconsistent and unfair to somebody of a particular race? And they go back and look at all your applications and they say, well, it looks like over the years you've had several people of this race apply with you and you've never picked one, or a disproportionate amount. You're not a racist person. You're not somebody that likes to discriminate. You always want to be fair, but you did, unintentionally. You created this situation. So be very careful, and just set up rules and run your applications first come, first serve, and either they're approved or they're not, and then you move on to the next one or you sign them up. So. It's a great way to show that you're consistent, and it's a great way to make sure that you are consistent. Both very important things, and it's the most fair to applicants too. So let's see here. What if I'm not sure about a rental application? So you've got your policies, your procedures, your rules, you've done the checks and everything, and you think every application you can look at it, you go, oh, approved or not approved. Well, one comes in and you're not sure. Well, let's see. Their credit used to be really good until about 6 months ago. They lost their job because of COVID-19, because there was a worldwide pandemic. They lost their job for 3 months. A lot of their bills didn't get paid, but they've been getting paid recently because now they have a new job, and so they've been getting paid. So okay, that's not too bad. But they're also right in the middle of a divorce because, for whatever reason, they're in the middle of a divorce. Oh, well, there's a little bit of instability, new job. Within the last year, they had several bills not getting paid. But it all kind of makes sense. Everything was great prior to this year. Do I really want to deny them when it seems like they're just getting back on track? In those kind of situations, criteria can never answer that question perfectly for every application, your written criteria. So have a caveat at the bottom of your written application that kind of gives some scenarios, maybe some situations, if they're not completely ruled out, but they're also not completely approved. Ask yourself the question, what's the risk? Think about it. What is the risk? What's your real concern? Your concerns are always, are they going to pay the rent, and are they going to take care of the property as they should? You don't want to get hit with a bunch of expenses that shouldn't be that you shouldn't get hit with. And so, sometimes if it's just a matter of risk, you can decrease that risk by requiring a double deposit. That's what I do often in those situations. And you don't want to tell them it's prepaid rent, because it's not. You want this to be deposit. It's refunded after they've moved out and after you've determined how well they fulfilled their part of the lease. So that might be a lot of money, and it is. But usually, more times than not, I'm surprised when I first started doing that. I'm surprised how often people, they just understand. They know their situation isn't great, and they're grateful for a chance, and they'll work it out, and they do. Sometimes they don't, and that's okay too, because then without it, the risk is too high. But with it, the risk is acceptable, and that's a way to do that. And again, remember, deposit cannot be paid over time; it needs to be paid up front. So anyway, I hope that helps. By following these tips and rules, and read over the blog too, you can really help protect yourself and get a good business partner as a tenant. Stay tuned for more from Castile Property Management, where we do more than just watch your rental property. We protect it, cultivate it, and help your investment grow.